Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve. And today, I'll be doing a kind of update, not entirely, but a Lair of Darkness deck profile. Everyone's favorite on the channel, my favorite on the channel, your favorite on the channel, your mother's favorite on the channel, your father's, your dog's, like everyone loves Lair of Darkness. And if you don't, it's because you're a liar. So, I just wanted to go over a quick update with the deck. It's not a direct translation of what I did last time. As a matter of fact, there is some drastic differences. And I don't know that everything is ideal, just because this is such a weird format. All the decks right now are either playing the strategy of flooding their deck with hand traps and playing this really, really small, consistent engine, or they're focused on being a combo deck that once the combo gets stopped by whatever going second board or whatever, then they just make Dragoon and try to OTK with it and just have a degenerate win condition like that. So it's a really weird format, and you can't really build for both. Except, what I've noticed is you can actually really easily exploit this format if you play a deck that doesn't give a shit about hand traps, and this is one of them. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. We got triple Arima, Lair of Darkness, triple Lilith, best card in the deck, Malice. I'm not going to explain the cards too much. As a matter of fact, this deck profile is going to be pretty short in comparison to what I normally do, just because you guys should know this, and this is an update, like a follow-up to what I already did. So if you want some explanations on specific cards, go back to that one. I think I'll have that one linked at the end of the video. Triple Tour Guide. This is like the only card in the deck that loses to hand traps, so it's fine. If they have to save every single hand trap for this one Tour Guide resolving, who cares? Skarm, Sangan, and then a new engine I decided to test out is the Amazement engine. So these two are pretty cool, not because they just support your traps, but because they support your traps, and they have a lot of searchers, not just with the time ticket, but with Arima. Every time I play Lair of Darkness, I'm always trying to find a way to phase out Diablos. Diablos is not a very good card for this deck. It doesn't support the playstyle in any variation. It's just a big beater that's kind of annoying to out, but it doesn't net you any card advantage on your opponent's turn, and it doesn't let you see your next turn unless your opponent's just playing a really bad deck. So all the time we're just trying to phase out Diablos, and this card is much better at it because it has synergy with the engine while getting you more cards. So pretty good. And then Comica, because I'm maxing out on time ticket, I just wanted to have the ability to search a normal summon with it. And at this one, when it's summoned, you can just set a trap. So it's its own disruption as well. Then we got triple Ash Blossom. Now, I am not playing a bunch of hand traps like every other deck, because a lot of people are not really thinking about the hand traps they're putting in their deck right now, because they're just not thinking about it. Because the reason a lot of the meta decks right now are on like 14, 15 hand traps is not because they necessarily need them. This is going to sound weird, but they don't necessarily need them. They're just playing them because they have a one-card engine and they just want to throw a bunch of nonsense in their deck. And a lot of people are doing the same thing for decks that cannot support that playstyle. Because if your deck is a two-card engine, like it requires two cards. This is a perfect example. Lilith Lair. Like, if you have two cards and you draw three hand traps, sure, your opponent doesn't do their full combo, but they're going to have something on board that prevents you from doing much of anything. And you're not going to win in a simplified game state when all your combinations are two cards when all your opponent's stuff is one card. So the only reason you'd be playing that many hand traps is because there's like an FTK going around, but the only thing that's even kind of close to that is Drytron. And hand traps are not the end-all be-all against that deck, because if you hand trap it to sleep, they just summon Dragoon, and it's much worse than the situation I just stated earlier. So you pretty much only want to hand trap them with like really, really powerful hand traps, like Floodgate ones. And then against the mid-range decks, like, hand traps are pretty worthless. So I don't really understand what's going on with the hand trap thing this format. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think we might have reached like critical mass on hand traps, and they might one day start banning a bunch of, not banning, but like limiting a bunch of them, because it's very odd that we are not in much of a combo format, but hand traps are literally all over the place. That's literally like opposite of what should be happening. So it is what it is. And then we got Triple Ties, consistency card. One day we'll have Small World. Triple Lair, Terraforming, Prosperity. Definitely superior to Extravagance. Even though this is a trap deck, and it just wants to see as many cards as possible, this isn't like a monkey flip trap deck. This deck is very, very targeted. It's playing a control game, and it's not trying to floodgate your opponent out and just sit on the floodgate and hope it doesn't get out of it. That's not the kind of deck this is. Every time you just set floodgates in this deck, you lose. Like, this deck, the only floodgate in this deck that is actually good is Skill Drain, and I just don't like playing it all the time, because you have to already be winning a lot for Skill Drain to be good. Like, people forget that there are trap decks out there that just don't really benefit from floodgates that much, and this is one of them. And since I just don't want to see more cards, I want to see specific cards, Prosperity is just better. And then Time Ticket, more consistency. All these spells outside of Lair of Darkness get me to another card. And then back to the front. This has replaced Sanctum, and this should replace Sanctum in every single variant of Lair of Darkness right now. It is DDG. Now, you might be asking, well, why does this replace Sanctum? Because Sanctum is terrible right now. Like I said earlier, how there are just so many hand traps and, like, Droplet, Imperm, just everything all over the place. Scythe only resolves sometimes. Not only that, the artifacts in your back row are just worthless. They're minuses, they're straight up garnets. It doesn't even matter that you can set them, because that doesn't accomplish anything. And finally, this deck's absolute worst matchup by a country mile, Drytron. Sanctum is worthless, and it doesn't matter. So I decided I need to replace Sanctum for another turn-ending trap, and I replaced it with DDG, and holy shit, this card is infinitely better. This card makes the Drytron matchup that is normally unwinnable very possible, because if you activate this, if they want a combo, which, quote, combo, they have to banish their entire hand to make, like, a Link 3 or 4. Maybe one Ritual Monster. Like, they have to throw away literally everything to try to play, and whatever they try to make, you just lift it away. And then it gets banished because of DDG. So it's literally like a free win condition against Drytron, because if they don't want to just lose the turn I activate it, they have to pretty much hold everything. Because whatever Diviner sends, it can't send from the deck to the grave. It, like, your opponent banishes everything they tribute. None of their Drytrons go to the grave unless they specifically detach, will put under material for Fafnir. So, like, this card's exceptional. It's actually just so insane. So I would suggest just playing this in every variant of Lair right now, and I would say it's probably going to be that way for a while. But yeah, 3 DDG, yeah, it's like only a going first card, but this deck already has a fundamental game. This deck's mechanic is already very well designed to go second, so I'm totally fine with playing a trap that only works going first. Then triple impermanence, 2 horror house. I really miss like a back row removal trap in here, but it is what it is. And then metaverse, another Lair of Darkness. 43 cards. If you want to cut some of the fat, you can. You probably don't need 3 time ticket or Comica at all. I just wanted to play them. It's that simple. You can probably cut a Scarm too, but I don't really like cutting Scarm while Ties is in the deck. For the side deck, this is just DDG except for going second. Yeah, your opponent summons a guy, you just pitch this, and that can be a game a lot of the time. And in this card, I don't know if I've ever showed off on the channel. I actually just don't remember. But it's Kawakimaru Doom. During each of your end phases, destroy this card unless you send 1 Iron Core of Kawakimaru from your hand to the graveyard, or reveal 1 Fiend-type monster in your hand, which we got plenty. And during the main phase, negate the activated effects of light and dark monsters. So what that means is, let's say your opponent has Herald of Perfection. What you can do is you can normal summon this guy, activate Lair of Darkness. If they go, oh, negate with Herald, it gets negated. That doesn't activate, so they can't negate it with Herald. And then during the end phase, this reveal isn't actually an activated effect. It's just one of those weird conditions. So you can just have this sit, and you get to set all your traps. It's kind of like a mono back in the day with True Draco. You get to summon this guy and do all your stuff against like Herald or like light hand traps, and it doesn't matter. And what's really funny is that while you control Lair of Darkness with this guy, it is skill drain. It is skill drain because this turns everything on the field dark. So when you summon this, all their activated effects on field are dark, so it doesn't matter. And then afterwards, yeah, your like Lilith and Malice get negated, but they only get negated during the main phase. So when your opponent tries, oh man, I need to attack over this thing, battle phase, they go to attack over this thing, Lilith, tribute it, set a trap, and then main phase 2. So this card's actually really cool. And then triple Radion, it's a dark kaiju, searchable with Arima, so it's very good. Triple a pointer for going first. You can usually replace some of the other like kind of going second cards with this. And then triple evenly matched. Yeah. And then the extra deck is like whatever you want. Zinmanes is kind of a meme. I wanted a card that was like Fortune Tune for Zeus, but it could be either or. I just think this one's kind of funny. And then links that you pretty much almost never make outside of Beat Cop, Cherubini, and Board Blocker. And sometimes Link Spider, and if you're playing against Dinos, I guess Link Revo. But yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Yeah, there's nothing more I really want to say. I really like, obviously I like Lair of Darkness. You can tell by all my channel art, my outro, and all this, everything, like all this, like channel branding has a bunch of Lair of Darkness monsters on it. But the main point I want to drive home if you're playing this deck is play DDG. It is not even close. The amount of power you get from this card in comparison to Sanctum is not even comparable. Like, this is just such an insane win condition. The only decks it sucks against are like other trap decks, but the same goes with Sanctum. So, yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Mastered Interflex will take your soul.